Hey, we are live this evening. I'm Doc Vince, and welcome to the Steel. Oh my goodness, I got another call. Steel Country Roofing. Should I say a blog, a podcast? So if this is your first time here, don't forget to like, share, and probably by the end, if you enjoy what we're talking about, please do subscribe because you know every time we do a live broadcast, you will be notified. And this is our first day, or first launch rather, first program. And we do have a guest. It's the Solar Man himself. And we'll talk more about that. So please do stay tuned because you will be in for a treat. So, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the Solar Man. Hey, Carter. Bro, how are you?
Great, great. Glad to be here. This is a lot
Now,
of fun. I've been looking forward to this. My own cameo. Been looking forward to this for a long time.
been looking forward, bro. Hey, first question. I'll go directly. Who called you? Where did you get the name Solar Man?
My wife gave that name to me.
Really?
Got into the business back in 2018,
Uh,
and I started running into a lot of, you know, problems where I was running into, hey, I'm here to fix the problem,
uh-huh.
and so this we kind of came up with the hashtag of the Solar Man, kind of like Superman.
Mm-hmm.
You take off Superman and put solar in front, and you got man. So my first name is Man. So we just kind of it
Oh,
kind of morphed from that.
so you got
I'm here to
Solar
fix the
in your
problem.
first name.
Yes, sir. And then it just kind of came out to be a catchy hashtag.
Uh-huh.
Real
So
catchy. So,
now, what really got you into solar?
coming out of I've always worked in some form of customer service, I guess you could say,
Mm,
and always been somewhat of a coach in
right.
some form, fashion, or way, whether it be basketball, football, baseball, little league, how be it, always been in some form of leadership or coaching. And then kind of those things kind of morphed into having opportunities where I saw where I could really be a person of value, and I had this real affinity for vehicles and wanting to learn a lot more, and saw myself getting into sales. So I thought it'd be a good bridgeway. And then lo and behold, just one day I got to kind of understanding more of what sales was about.
Mm,
And when I saw uh, how seamless and what there was as far as a need was for solar, I started doing a little bit of research on it on my own, and then kind of married my talent and my spirit with it. And then it eventually just, I kind of rolled into it organically, and saw it really as something that I could go out and just help people. And it wouldn't be a sale per se. It'd
mhm.
be something that I could just do naturally. And I saw it as something that people would need. And I kind of know where things are as far as where the economy's been. And, I saw it as something that we'd be definitely looking to be a need in people's home in the next 10, 15, 20, 25 years. So it was just the right time. I got in 2018, and it's been a steady process of growth ever since.
So since 2018, so how many years is that? Almost 5 years?
Yeah, 5 years. Yeah, 5.5 years. Yeah.
Five and a
Got
half
in
years.
February of 2018. So about a year and a half before the pandemic.
Hmm. Hey, bro, I went ahead with asking you the question, but
Sure.
I would rather go back to to our viewers who doesn't know you. Maybe you give a first introduction of your
Yeah.
name and the
No.
little background other than solar thing.
Sure. No. No. That's fine. Yeah. Man Carter. Funny story. Moved to Texas in 1999. Met
Oh,
my wife in '04. Excuse me. Met my wife in '02. We got married in '04. Three beautiful kids. She's a teacher for. She taught in the Edinburgh School District for about 15 years. And then last year we moved up here to San Antonio to seek a little bit better opportunity for our kids. And we got up here last year, and I caught on with a couple different companies, and kind of got my feet wet. And my wife, she was straight into teaching. And for us, it's been just nothing but opportunity and blessings, that we've gotten up here. We've expanded our network and got to meet a new group of people and grow professionally and seeing a lot of growth in our kids as well. So as far as work and opportunities, we're always, people faith and, always looking for the next opportunity and where we can better ourselves and as well as be, viable members to the community and be, people for a light for the kingdom of God.
Hmm. You did mention about opportunity value, and the other thing is now is the right opportunity for solar. Now,
Yes.
my question is, why is now the right opportunity for solar?
Oh yeah, yeah. I guess when I first got in 2018, just coming out of the auto industry, I do a lot of reading on my own and saw some things, that I kind of figured in the economy in the next say 3 to 5 years would really be detrimental to the U.S. And the big one was the QE, which is in financial terms they call it quantitative easing, where the
Mm,
government continues to print money. And I thought, man, at some point, if they just keep printing money, and we don't have anything coming in, then there's going to be inflation. And lo and behold, back in 2018, where we are right now, 2021, we're in inflation, and you're seeing people now, electric bills are skyrocketed, and
right.
people are trying to figure out ways to heat and cool their homes and put food on the table and put gas in the tank. So it's a ripe opportunity. I kind of saw this back in 2018, and I'm glad I stayed in the industry.
You know what? A couple of weeks ago, I saw my bill from 120 or 140 something. It
Hmm.
went up to 244.
Yes, yes,
It's like,
yes,
what's going on here?
yes.
Is it because of the war in Ukraine?
Yeah. Well, that's part of it. That's part of it.
Why is our electricity bill going up? And will solar really help us out during this
Yes.
difficult times when every prices are, skyrocketing?
Yeah. I'm actually looking at your bill here right now, and I've got a proposal ready for you. So I'll email that over to you tonight after our
Yeah.
podcast. You can take a look at it. But
Uh-huh.
no, just looking at the bills. Let me kind of back up before I can kind of explain that.
Sure.
Going into the industry, there's two different types of salesmen that you're going to come across.
Hmm.
You're going to come across someone who is sales oriented, or you're going to come across someone who's informative. You know, being that I've been in the business now for a little over 5 years, I come across now. I try to sit down and become more of the informative
Hmm.
person. That way, when I go in, the customer understands just that question right there. Why is my bill so high? If I'm sitting down with someone and I can't explain to them why their bill is going higher and what to expect moving forward, then I'm not setting a realistic expectation for the customer. And so, therefore, I have to sell to the customer. And at the end of the day, the companies are in business to make a profit, banks are in business to make a profit. But at the end of the day, it really boils down to the salesman. Most salesmen do know the process, but coming in and sitting down to the customer doesn't. So, how we paint that picture for the customer and how we answer your questions really determine the value of who you're sitting down with and what direction you're going to go. So that being said, what is it that's driving our bills up? It's a couple of different things. Number one is ERCOT, ERCOT, which is our infrastructure. Inflation is tied into the price to heat and cool the home, which is the cost of a dollar or cost of a barrel right
Hmm.
now. And I don't know exactly what that cost is right now because it changes so much. But when you see the cost of gas go up, then basically it's going to cost you more to heat and cool your home. A lot of these energy companies have lost money due to poor infrastructure and inflation coming in, and now those charges are being passed on over to the customers by way of surcharges. And then we have new energy rates that are also coming out. And I know exactly just down in y'all's market right now, when you go onto powertochoose.com, the lowest energy rate anyone's going to find on that platform is going to be about 15 cents a kilowatt. The highest I've seen on there is 26 cents a kilowatt. So as people come off of these contracts that they're on, they're going to be in for a big surprise when they go start shopping for energy rates.
Hmm. Yeah, because I was looking at the energy rates is correct, 15 cents
Mhm,
right now.
mhm.
And I was thinking, oh, probably I'll just go to another provider, but the rates are almost the same. It's really high.
Yeah.
Now, maybe you could tell us briefly
Mhm.
how solar power or energy, how does that work if we try to use it in our homes?
Great question. That's the number one question. That's the number one question, followed up with the number two question: how much does it cost?
Mhm.
So,
That's always the cost matters.
so,
I go first. How does it work?
all right. So number one and number two and number one. Number one and two and one are interchangeable. Now, I always start this conversation off with the customer to ask them first and foremost, who is their utility provider? Are they in a deregulated market? Are they in a regulated market? Because based on what market they're in determines what you can get. If you're in a deregulated market, then that means you're dealing with two companies. You're dealing with the provider, which in your case is going to be AEP or Encore, and then there's a middle person. If you're in a regulated market, which would be a co-op, which I give the example in your area, it's going to be Magic Valley, Nueces Co-op. Up here in the San Antonio area, we're dealing with CPS. They're a little bit more, I guess you say, more monopoly oriented
Mm,
for the customer. So based on what they charge the customer price per kilowatt, is going to determine how you set your rates as far as solar. It should be even, should never be more. So as far as how we determine what the system's going to cost and how solar works in the home, it's always going to start with the point of origin. Customer needs to understand that there's two different markets that we're in, and once we know which market you're in, then we can set the expectations for how it's going to work in the home. That's a technical question, but basically we need to figure out where you who your utility provider is first before we have that conversation.
right. Uh, I often hear off grid. What does that mean?
Okay, so yeah, it's a great question. So again, coming into the market, let's say I'm in an area where uh, I have no power, right? Let's say I'm out somewhere in a colonial, or I'm out here somewhere in the ranch country, and there's no existing utility that's out in that area.
Mhm.
I have the ability to go out there and set up whatever structure I want, let it be a homestead or a ranch or a barn or whatever it is I want to set up. And I can set my system up to where that system is powered by panels, batteries, and generators with no connection to the meter.
Hmm.
If there is existing electricity, such as in city or in county, in a lot of cases, I can have what's called a grid tie system. That means there's electricity already on the property, and we are tying on our solar to the existing system. Two different setups.
There you go.
Mhm.
Because the next question would be, because I hear you saying battery, generator,
Mhm.
and panels. So which is which? Which do they need? Do customers need battery, home generator, or what?
That's a great question. These are really great questions, and again, being the informative salesman, I always, I tell you what, prior to the freeze, and a lot of anyone who's here in Texas knows, we had a freeze back a year and a half ago. It was in
Oh.
February. Prior to that freeze, I was a generator solar panel guy.
Mm,
I probably pushed out over 10, maybe 11 people, 10 to 11 sales that year before prior in solar and generators. I was a big backup guy on generators. Post freeze and high gas prices, now I really kind of lean more towards the battery. Why? Because if I set up a system with panels and a generator,
mm,
panels and generator will always need fuel,
right.
which in this case is going to be propane or gas. So again, if we see the price of gas go up, then yeah, I can go with a solar generator, but at the end of the day, I still have to have propane or fuel to run that generator. So now we're looking at an extra expense
Mm.
to run the generator as far as what type of fuel I'm going to run that off of.
Bro, while you were talking about those generators and panels, something came up in my mind. I was thinking, I saw a photo of a Tesla with a fuel generator at his
Oh
back,
wow! Oh wow! Wow! I hadn't seen that one. That's an interesting one.
so that if he ran out of electricity, he got a
He's got a
generator
generator on
back.
the back. Yeah, that's the way to go, and that's actually quite smart because that if you were to set up a system, that would be the ideal way to set it up.
Uh-huh.
It
Ca-
truly
ca-
would be. Mhm.
which means in homes, can we do a hybrid of batteries and generators?
Yes, absolutely, you can. You absolutely can, and that's a little bit more of a technical question as far as design wise.
Uh,
But yes, you can. The light answer to that is yes, you can.
Uh-huh.
In fact, if I was in an area where I ran into a what do you call it? Peak power charges. What do you call where you're on the grid and you're going to receive surcharges for peak charges? Then I would definitely run something like that. I would also run it if I was out in the country, somewhere out where I didn't have a lot of access to easy access to good sunlight. I mean, I had shading on my panels, or I was going to be running a lot of a lot of power tools or something that potentially could drain my battery. Then I would definitely want to run a generator on top of stack that on top of my panels and my battery. Mhm.
Now, if you're talking to a child or like a beginner or a newbie like me, what are the benefits of solar really? What
Right.
do I get from solar? Uh, I don't know. You explain because
Yeah.
I hear inflation, so it will really affect my the cost. But
Yes.
is that only it?
Right. Well, I tell you what, to better answer that question, I'm gonna dive into what we call a little bit of a political discussion because I can't answer that question without talking about the government, right?
Okay. Okay.
So we'll stay in the shallow end of the pool, but I just believe in being honest and transparent. I'm not a I'm not a what do you call it? Um, I try to tell it like it needs to be told. Give me the information, let me decipher through it, let me make my decision. You know, that's
Mm,
the kind of guy I am. So that's the way I am when I talk about it. Hey, here's the information on what you choose to do
right.
with it. That's on you.
Mm,
So to answer that question, you have to ask people what's important right now. So is the war in Ukraine, the things that are going on over there, important? Yeah, to a degree. Um, the right now, what are people looking at? What's staring them right in the face? A $600-700, $1,000 electric bill. So when you weigh that out, yeah, my heart bleeds, and I'm empathetic certainly to people that are less fortunate, but at the same time, I got to take care of my home.
mm,
So when I look at my expenses and what I have to do in my house, then I have to look at where my money's going and where I can grasp straws to hang on to what I can hang on, keep money in my pocket.
yeah.
So to me, the ultimate benefit of solar is right away is I'm going to save money on my monthly electric bill. Do I want to be on a fixed cost for something, or do I want to be on a variable kilowatt rate?
Hmm.
So I always ask my customers, I give them a linear line and I say, solar is a fixed cost. Utility is always going to be a linear payment. So do I want to be on a linear payment, right? Do I always want to be paying for something forever? Or do I want to be on a fixed cost where I know exactly what my payment is going to be? And when you put it in simple terms, like you said, if I was talking to a kindergartner, well, who wouldn't want a fixed cost every month for the
Hmm.
same amount of utility? Versus, yeah, well, I've seen in the last just 2 months, I had a customer a couple months ago, she had $1,000 electric bill.
What?
$1,000.
That's crazy.
Had one 3 weeks ago. Guy had it was a $650 electric bill.
Ooh. There's this thing with utility providers that fixed cost for
Mhm,
36 months, and
mhm.
there's a catch if it's less than 1,000 kilowatt hours. Above more
Yeah,
than that, you'll be paying more.
yeah, yeah. I had a lady the other day. I was on a consult with in California, and she says, we do our laundry at 10 o'clock at night, so they can avoid the peak charges. The peak charges come in, I think she said, between 4 and 6 every day. So
Oh,
between 4 and 6 every day, they shut everything down in the house.
so there's also a timing for that. I think I remember one time we were talking, you did mention about would, or I think that was one of the questions or topic when which do you prefer, having you own your electricity or you rent it out for the rest of your life? I don't
Mhm.
know if you remember that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Mhm.
So how does this apply for solar?
So basically, right now, what's driving the bus? We're getting back to the economics. And let me back up a little bit. What I'm seeing, I guess, when I first came into the industry, was a big push on carbon, you know, clean carbon footprint and climate change, and
Mhm.
reducing our emissions and things like that. And yeah, and you do hear those things in the background as chatter. Right now, what's driving the bus is money because of
Right.
the economy. So we fast forward now 5 years later, And what's driving the bus with this whole process is going to be what's called the federal tax credit. So there's a federal tax credit out there right now that if you do qualify for that federal tax credit, it will allow you to deduct 26% off of the gross total of the cost of the system, and you get to roll that tax credit over for 2 years. So that's what's really
Mm.
driving the bus right now.
Is there also other like federal help coming?
No, and that's a great question too, because when you jump on YouTube, you'll often hear, "Well, there's a federal program, and there's
Yeah,
free this, there's free that, and free this." And one of the ones that I listen to all the time is they say, "Well, the cost for going solar, you will scan your roof, and you'll see what everybody else is paying." Those are all misnomers because every house has its own usage.
hmm
So what was say three people in my neighborhood have swimming pools and I don't. Well, they're going to be paying higher for solar because their usage is higher.
mm,
So you can't take an average on just say the house. It's always going to come down to the usage of the house. And then where we are right now, and this is the purpose of this platform is to educate people about not only the benefits of solar, but also let's see how energy efficient we can make your house.
mm.
And are there any things that we need to do to help take care of your roof in the process of this? So that way we take care of the entire house versus just putting a band-aid on the problem.
That really makes sense
Hmm.
because we don't treat symptoms like in medicine you don't treat symptoms, but rather what is the main
Hmm.
cause
What's the
of
cost? Yeah.
problem. What's the
Hmm.
cause? Because every time you just treat symptoms, yeah,
Hmm.
you're really not treating the main problem. Now, my
That's right.
question is the next question would be, how do I know if solar is right for me?
Oh, great question. Again, looking at everything, I will say at the end of the day, being informed about the whole process, sitting down with someone like myself, who's not going to, blow any smoke. We're going to sit down and put some hard numbers to it.
hmm
Understanding, I think at the end of the day, if it's for you, being able to understand what the whole process of going solar is like. I always advise my customers get at least two or three, sit downs with professionals and see which person sounds the best, and take those as opportunities to learn, ask a lot of questions, and then you'll know whether or not it's going to be for you based on the answers that you get. Come in with a list of questions for your sales rep,
Hmm.
and you'll know at the end of the day if it's for you because the numbers are going to come down to numbers. The
Right.
numbers are either going to be in your favor and you're going to see a return on your investment, or you're not. I always used to tell my customers in a joking manner, no one goes solar because they're trying to pay more. They're trying to pay less.
Now that makes sense.
Hmm.
That really makes sense.
Yeah,
You go solar because you want to pay less.
that's right.
We have skyrocketing prices right
Hmm.
now,
Yeah,
plus the economy of we're officially we are in recession.
recession. I saw your post the other day, and then I went straight over to I think it was the Dow or something. I went and looked up, and I was like, man, yeah, you're right. We're right there. It was two. Was it two business quarters or
If
three
it's two
business
quarters
quarters?
straight that you have an inflation, that's the description of recession.
That's right.
And the sad thing, no, not the sad thing, but the powers that be, they changed the definition. So probably
Saw
we
that.
are not yet in
Saw that.
recession, but basing on the old description, we are
Yeah,
in
I saw
recession.
that.
No, but the next thing would be, uh, for me, if I'm a customer, what's your advice in how I would go about in selecting a system that is right for us as a customer?
Man, another great question. Another great question. I think again, this is where doing your homework starts. Everything is going to start at the meter, depending on who your. The first things first is who are you with? Meaning, are you on a deregulated market or are you on a regulated market? I think if companies, and again, this is the purpose of this platform. Coming into this, we want to inform our customers. So if the customer understands if he's the difference between a regulated market and a deregulated market, and what he or she can actually get, and how that's going to benefit them based on the current situation they're in, then they would know what direction to go as far as selecting a company. Not all companies work well with deregulated markets, and some companies don't work well with regulated markets. It's all going to start at point of sale starts at the meter. Mhm.
Is solar sustainable for foreseeable future?
Oh, absolutely. Again, when you look at where we are as far as our politics, I hate to drag that well back into the conversation, but as you start to see the assault on oil, coal, and we see the prices at the gas start to go up, you're going to start to see hyperinflation here in the homes. It's going to cost you more to heat and cool your homes, and those charges have to be passed on somewhere. So while you see the assault on coal, and then you see the rebates and the push for clean energy and green, go green, then it's kind of like, hey, you're either going to go green or you're going to pay absorbent costs. So it's kind of like we're being forced into that. My personal opinion about that, I think we need both. Um, I do support green, going green. I think it's great for the environment. It's great for the customer's pocket, but at the same time, we still need fossil fuels to function in society.
Hmm. Because not everything.
That's right.
I mean, an abrupt change from fossil to uh, electric energy.
Yeah,
I don't see that uh, to happen in the next 5 years.
that's right. Right. And my personal opinion, I'll say one more part about that is I think
Uh,
those who prepare now, who are catching this wave before the federal tax credit disappears, are really going to be the ones who benefit the most from solar because the big thing is, remember, if there's a supply chain shortage, then the cost of goods go up. So as the
mm,
cost of goods go up, then the cost of solar is going to go up along with the cost of energy because the cost to make the panels, get the materials, everything's going up. But at the same time, the federal tax credit is dissipating. It drops to 22% next year. And then the following year, it goes to zero.
I would really love to know the calculation. I'm more of like the visual guy, and we could talk
Mhm.
more about this later on
Sure.
on our next episode. Just
Absolutely.
knowing the numbers, because for me that would really make sense. You did explain everything, but I'm more of like I said, I'm coming back. I'm a
Absolutely.
if
Yeah.
I see the numbers, I would definitely
Right.
make a decision because it should I say $100 or $200 going down to what 160 or 100% decrease or
Right.
50% decrease of your utility bill. That is a big and huge difference.
Right.
Before we go, one last thing is the capital of having a solar panel. How would it be costly to start with?
Again, that's a great question. And that goes back into the tax credit. While that tax credit is available if you do qualify for it, there is a quote, if you do qualify for it, you do have the potential, at least with my company, to start off day one in the black and not in the red. The big thing used to be is how long is it going to take me to recoup my investment when I go solar?
Mm.
What that means is for some people it was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years where they actually would even out. Excuse me. But now with the federal tax credit in place, if you do qualify for it, you should be in the black day one,
When you
which means
say
your
qualify,
investment.
maybe what are the criteria? Maybe one or two.
You just have to have taxable income
Mm.
and not be in the red with the IRS. So if you have
Oh,
income and you don't owe the IRS money, you do qualify for the federal tax credit. And some people are retired or they
i-
take a lot of deductions. We're
right.
we're not licensed CPAs, so there are things that we can't advise on. But
Mm.
basically, they have to have taxable income, and if you have taxable income, then you more likely do qualify for a portion of it, if not all. You would have to see your CPA to determine those numbers. But I just advise my customers where to look and the fact that if they do have taxable income, I can explain it once we sit down and go through a consult.
Hey, bro, you've been really helpful. I've
Thank you.
learned a lot this evening, but you know how it is. Time really flies, and we
Mhm.
need more time
Yeah,
to talk more.
absolutely. This is
And
perfect.
another episode would be great.
Yes.
Before we go, final thoughts, final message to our viewers.
Oh man, it's just great having you here, Doc. And man, I appreciate the opportunity and the platform. Doc and I here we're partnering up on this venture together, and he or myself can be reached here on the platform on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. any of the social media platforms for more information. He or I both could sit down and kind of get you plugged in with a free consult, and happy to sit down and take care of you guys, and anything we can do to add value and make sure that customers are taken care of. So I'm grateful for the opportunity.
Mr. Mann Carter, the Solar Man, CEO of Steel
Man,
Country Roofing
we'll
LLC.
get more into this more as we go along, man. So
Yes, sir. Hey, stay blessed.
yes, I will.
Always be a
Appreciate you.
blessing.
Yes,
And I'm not going to forget about this. Happy birthday, bro.
thank you. I appreciate it. Just another day. Every day's a
Yes,
blessing.
sir.
All right, man. Thank you
Talk
so
to you
much.
later.
Okay, we'll talk in the morning.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
bye.
Have a good night.
Hey, don't go yet. Don't go yet.
Okay.